Chronicles is the worst game I have ever played in my entire life! Whoa, jeez, sorry about that. Got a little ahead of myself there. Anyway, for those of you who haven't clicked off this video yet, Sonic Chronicles The Dark Brotherhood is a turn-based RPG developed by BioWare and published by Sega for the Nintendo DS in 2008. Obviously, it stars Sonic and friends and is the first and only RPG to feature the Sonic franchise. When this game was first announced, I was pretty excited about it. I love Sonic and I figured, hey, if Mario can pull off the whole RPG thing amazingly, why can't Sonic? I wish I didn't think that way. Oh, how I wish I didn't think that way. Anyway, since it is a RPG, it has a rather long, convoluted story, so here's a quick rundown of it. The game is broken up into 10 chapters, each of which deal with a different part of the story, and in total lasts about 15 hours. The game starts with Sonic on vacation, but it's quickly interrupted when Tails informs him that the Chaos Emeralds, as well as Knuckles, have been kidnapped. They quickly find out that a group of rogues, known as the Marauders, have been hanging around looking all suspicious and stuff. Gun and the Chaotix state that they know where the Marauders' headquarters is, so Sonic and team go out to find them, hoping Knuckles is there. Eventually, they do find Knuckles, as well as Eggman, who claims to be a reformed person, and joins them in their efforts. When the gang goes to Metropolis, they end up meeting Shadow and are attacked by the Marauders. The main Marauder, Shade, reveals herself to be an Echidna and part of the Nocturnus tribe, who apparently live in outer space. Shade believes that her leader, Ix, wants the Chaos Emeralds in order to move the tribe back peacefully to Earth, but instead he wants to take over the whole dimension. Surprise! Which causes Shade to turn her back on her tribe and help Sonic and friends. They end up in space looking on different planets for the Chaos Emeralds, as well as helping each of the different races of aliens come together to stop the Nocturnus tribe. They all band together, Sonic and friends beat the bad guy, everything is fine and dandy, except it isn't, because Eggman turns out to be a villain again and has transformed the planet into a robot empire while they were gone. To be continued is flashed and the credits roll. Now, to be fair, the story isn't the absolute worst in a Sonic game, but it is very generic. Oh no, the main villain wants to take over the world, gasp! How many times have you heard that one? And Shade? Oh my goodness, Shade. While she's not inherently a bad character, I can't really bring myself to like her because of how much of a Mary Sue she is. It's very clear that BioWare just wanted to make their own character for the Sonic universe, so they made this badass chick who is super important to the plot and is even on the front of the box. It's kind of pathetic, really. Not to mention, the fact that she's an Echidna really bothers me. Perhaps the most interesting thing about Knuckles is that he is the last of his kind. While they do add a lot of drama and conflict with him dealing with the fact that more Echidnas exist in this game, for the most part, it just takes away from a character that has already been built upon for over 15 years. I don't like it. But the weak story and stupid new characters are the least of this game's problems. The gameplay is where it really brings my blood to a boil. First of all, everything is controlled with the touchscreen. Literally, everything. The menus, moving your character on the overworld, everything. It's annoying. I understand wanting to use the DS's touchscreen functionality, but when you make an RPG where I can't even move unless I draw a line for my character to follow, we're going to have some problems. The overworlds are very flat and boring anyway, never really taking advantage of the Sonic franchise. All the areas are very small and offer very little in terms of variety. Each of the characters has a different ability which can be used at certain points on the overworld. Tails can fly, Knuckles can climb, Big can walk through poison, but it never adds much to an otherwise bland overworld. It's bad. Even worse still is the horrible, horrible battle system. This is the worst part of the game. Nothing about the battle system even sounds like a good idea. Nothing. Sonic games are, for the most part, about speed, and BioWare wanted a battle system that reflected that, so instead of just picking your move and then attacking, and then picking your move again, what you pick determines what you're going to do for the next 3 moves. If you want Sonic to attack, you better hope he can survive what the enemy has to offer, because he's going to be attacking 3 times this round, never stopping to let you heal. In RPGs, you need to be able to plan accordingly. You need to be able to give the player time to heal or use items when necessary. You can't just lock them into one move for 3 turns and expect them to come out okay. It makes the game that much harder and all the more frustrating to play. If I attack, then get attacked, and am about to die, I'm going to want to heal or block, not attack again. This was such a dumb idea for a battle system that I honestly can't believe it came from BioWare, the same company responsible for Mass Attack and Knights of the Old Republic. How could they think this was okay? But oh, it doesn't end there. Oh no, because then there comes the special moves. Each of the 11 playable characters has a variety of special moves you can learn and level up by gaining experience, some of which are even team attacks requiring more than one character. Special moves are common in RPGs, but this game takes the idea and makes it so painful to pull off, sometimes you won't even want to bother. Each time you do a special move, you have to hit a number of markers that appear on the touchscreen at a certain time or in a certain order. Sometimes you might have to follow a line or spin something in a circle. If you've ever played Elite Beat Agents, you'll know what I'm talking about. But the difference is, in Elite Beat Agents, you're tapping to the rhythm of a song. It makes sense, and it's easy to get the sequence down. In this game, they just appear at random and don't match the music at all. You have to just learn the correct timing and hope you can do it fast enough because they sometimes move so quick you won't know what happened. If you miss even one note, you do very little damage and waste a whole turn. Both parts of the battle system are so backwards, I honestly can't believe anybody would okay them. I honestly can't. It's like they've never played any other RPG ever made, and they're freaking BioWare! Then, to top it all off, battles last forever because the enemies in this game are some of the most annoying in any game I've ever played. It seems like every type of enemy has some sort of super armor or a gimmick that hurts you. Some put you to sleep, some make you dizzy, some poison you, some do super attacks. It's like they were trying to frustrate me to the point of throwing the DS out a window. And again, it's even worse when you run into an enemy that has super armor and can just take your attack like it's nothing because you have to do that same move 3 times depending on the character you pick, which is most of them, might I add. You can equip items or add chow that increase certain attributes of your character, but they never make the enemies or the battle system any less annoying. I can't fathom how they came to the conclusion to make the game play like this. I know I'm still harping on this one thing, but honestly, gameplay is the most important part of your game, and the battle system especially in an RPG, and they messed it up to the point of no return. When I first got the game, I beat the first chapter and then never played it again. It wasn't until I decided to review a bunch of Sonic games that I gave it another chance, and it wasn't any easier. It's just painful. Normally, I'd talk about the bosses here, but, I mean, it's a RPG. What is there to say? They're just bigger versions of enemies. They take more hits, do more damage, and last even longer than the already far too long-lasting battles. The only real standout battle is the final boss. You fight him as Supersonic, and you only have to hit him once to win, but in order to do that, you have to pull off a ridiculous string of special moves. It's like Jumpin' Jack Flash, but without the fun. On the technical side, the game really doesn't do much better. The graphics are hideous. Seriously, look at these character models. They're gross. This game came out 4 years after Super Mario 64 DS, a launch title, and looks about 300 times worse. I don't know how that's possible. And the backgrounds in Overworld are all just static 2D images. It's boring. And the music, I wouldn't even call this music. It sounds as if an Atari 2600 threw up. It's awful. Even the worst Sonic games tend to have at least decent music, but I would argue this game has one of the worst soundtracks of any video game. So even the one thing bad Sonic games have going for them, this game lacks. Incredible. There's not really any voice sampling either. Since it's a DS game, everything is just text dialogue in incredibly lazy speech bubbles on the top screen with static mugshots of the character right next to him. Even for an RPG, it's bland. Honestly, I don't know what else to say. I just hate this game so much. I really do think it isn't just the worst Sonic game, but the worst game I've ever played. Now, Sonic 06 is technically the worst game. I mean, it's an unfinished mess of programming and nothing works as it should. But that's also why I think this game is worse. Everything in this game works the way it was programmed. Everything that happens in this game is intentional, and not because of some bug or a rushed development cycle. And yet, none of it works how it should. None of it comes off as a good idea. None of it should be in this game. Yeah, sure, my character moves when he's supposed to, and when I tap the buttons on the screen it works, and I'm not glitching through floors every 2 seconds, but it's also so bad and unfun to play, it just feels like an even worse game because of it. The story is bogus, Shade is a blatant Mary Sue character, the battle system is just such a bad concept to begin with, and it's realized even worse. The enemies are impossible, the graphics make Superman 64 look like Bioshock, the music grates your ears, and the whole game is free of voice work. It's just an awful, awful game with a bunch of horrible ideas thrown into one big pot with the Sonic license slapped on top. It's even more depressing to think that BioWare made it. One of the best game developers when it comes to making RPGs made perhaps the worst RPG of all time. If nothing else, it has the worst battle system of all time. Both Sonic and BioWare deserve better. Don't play this game. Just don't ever. It's horrible. It is the worst game I've ever played, and that isn't an exaggeration. I honestly think this is the worst game ever. Listen to how mad I am right now. It's bad. The battle system is just, ugh. What have I gotten myself into? Now, my next review is the much requested Sonic Unleashed, but you'll have to give that one time. Not only have I not completed the game yet, I'm a little over halfway done. I'm also in the middle of moving, so I don't have all that much time to sit down and complete it. I promise I will when I get the chance, and the review will be up as soon as possible. You'll just have to hold on a little bit longer.